Good evening. This is Stephen Lewis. Let's just jump right into this discussion today. This discussion is about a grant proposal, a research travel grant proposal concept that I put together for some research on my hopeful dissertation topic. The proposed project is a research travel grant funding archival work at the Lyndon Baines Johnson Presidential Library, supporting dissertation research on the societal, economic, and political impact of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965. The library holds White House Central files, agency correspondence, legislative liaison records, recorded telephone conversations, and oral history interviews from the drafting, passage, and early implementation of both statutes. Materials not available in digitized collections and largely un, unmined for evidence of the act's downstream economic and electoral effects. A travel grant would fund transportation and a multi-day research stay there. Travel grants are also a practical entry point for a doctoral student, smaller, less competitive, and more numerous than completion fellowships, and tied to the kind of concrete fundable need archive access that the background research below can justify. Four sources anchor the background research for this project. Two addresses the economic impact of the CRA, one addresses the political impact of the VRA, and one offers a 50-year quantitative assessment of the CRA's legacy across both dimensions. Taken individually, each makes a discrete scholarly contribution. Taken together, they reveal both the argument the dissertation will test and the gap in the literature that archival research at the Johnson Library is positioned to fill. So how these work together, let's take a look at that. Right, sharing the prize establishes the macroeconomic baseline using regional wage employment and investment data. He argues that desegregation produced a shared prize, material gains for black Southerners that did not come at white Southerners' expense, but that this gain depended on outside federal pressure rather than voluntary market correction. Bourne's A Stone of Hope narrows that claim to the individual level, tracing how Title VII's Fair Employment Practices Commission changed black workers' day to day labor market experience, earnings, and unemployment exposure. Hirsch and Chenal extend both arguments across a 50-year horizon and a wider set of protected classes, testing quantitatively whether the gains Wright and Bourne document in the Act's first decade persisted, stalled, or reversed by 2014, and where they were strongest. May's bending toward justice supplies a political complement the other three lack: a narrative history of the VRA's passage and its effect on black political participation in the South. Read in sequence, the four sources move from macroeconomic claim to individual mechanism to long run quantitative test to political narrative. The combined economic and political lens the dissertation requires, they also expose the opening the archival research fills. Each relies on published data, case law, or secondary narrative, not the White House's internal record of how officials anticipated, debated, or measured these effects in real time. That gap is the project's evidentiary justification. The research extends rather than duplicates this literature. The Target Foundation, the appeal is planned toward the Moody Research Grant administered by the LBJ Foundation and underwritten by the Moody Foundation of Galveston, Texas. The program defrays travel, lodging, and per diem costs for scholars researching at the LBJ Presidential Library, with awards generally ranging from $600 to $3,000. Applicants itemize travel costs and research days requested, and recipients agree to share resulting publications with the foundation and not use the research for partisan purposes. Mission alignment: the foundation funds scholarship using the Johnson's Library holdings, and the Civil Rights and Voting Rights Acts are the signature achievements of the Johnson presidency. A closer match would be hard to find. Collection fit: the appeal can name specific series the project would use: White House Central Files, Bill Moyers and Lee White staff files, and oral histories showing the applicant has already done finding A research. Right sized ask a travel per diem grant matches what this foundation actually funds, improving the realistic odds of an award. Built-in stewardship hook: start sharing resulting publications give the foundation a low-cost way to see its mission advance. A complete appeal packet would include a one-page research prospectus connecting dissertations, research questions, to named archival series, an itemized travel budget, a current CV, and a letter of support from the dissertation advisor confirming project scope and timeline. Thank you.